On today's show, we hop in a canoe with Minnesota's riverman, discover a bit of Cannon River history, and yes, the bass are biting.
Oh my gosh.
We spend the day alongside this hunter. She's known to chase some of Minnesota's oldest species.
It's an Antipharius boreas trilobite.
Plus, a little different campfire recipe for your next catch.
Minnesota Bound, presented by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems.
Hey everybody, Laura, Millie, and I welcome you to today's episode.
Today, my dad floats the Cannon River.
Yeah, Ron and his fishing buddy discover a little bit of history, and believe it or not, even a few smallmouth bass.
It's been said, rivers know there is no hurry. We shall get there someday. True, but a river float trip flows full of anticipation of what lies ahead. What the next cast might bring, or the next cast, or the next. River rats know this stuff. River rats like Bill Plantan.
The best thing about rivers is the unanticipated arrival of the next bend.
Should I get in?
Yep.
With fishing rods at ready, we surrendered to the whims of the Cannon River as it flowed past Welsh, Minnesota.
One thing that I'm doing, Ron, that you haven't experienced yet, we use counters. People always say, how many fish did you really catch? Well, if you don't keep track, then you don't really know.
The fact that you even think that you need a counter is the height of optimism. Boy, the water's clear, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Cannon River begins in Shields Lake and ends 112 miles later in the Mississippi River near Red Wing. Dakota Indians had a different name, translated means Standing Rock River, referring to nearby rock formations. The French called it the River of Canoes, using the French word for canoe, canoe. English explorers thought that French name sounded like cannon. Cannon? Yep, the name stuck.
One of the things that I really enjoy about the river, Ron, is as all rivers have the variety of species that they have here. We've even had a muskie explode on a lure before.
Whatever bites is a good goal, but we really were casting for the river's smallmouth bass.
There's something. That is a big fish. You got him?
Yep. Oh, he's a dandy.
Huh? Awesome. Cannon River Smalley. Beauty. Send her back. Thanks for the game.
Oh, he slammed it hard, didn't he?
Yeah, way out here too. I got to give you credit for fishing, casting, and running the boat at the same time. I've run one of these enough to know it's not simple.
We're going to start getting into more where we've got trees on both sides, banks on both sides. I think the fishing should get better from here on.
River rats are always optimistic around the next bend.
Oh, I got him. Oh, he's a nice one. Nice
He
fish.
is.
Nice bass.
It's a nice one, Bill.
He's not a monster, but hey, he'll do.
And the cannon carried us on.
There he is.
Oh, yeah. There he is. Yeah. Nice fish.
You. Beauty. Nice.
Nice fish.
Next stop, shore lunch.
We got yellow mustard, we got Dijon mustard, we've got mayo, and we've got horseradish.
You haven't lost a step, Bill.
Well, thank you, Ron.
Consummate lunch producer.
I gotta be known for something.
Nothing like catching bass on a full belly.
Oh,
there
I
he is.
told you.
Yeah, right in front of it.
Good job. Oh, that's a nice one. I think the fish in the rivers are more adept at fighting and are tougher, maybe, because they have to fight the current all day long. And so they are just naturally adapted to it.
We were about to find out.
That's a big bass. Oh!
What a nice jump.
Oh my gosh. He'd have gone over my head. All right, that's my fish of the day.
Wow, what a day. What a river. The Cannon.
It's wonderful for the soul. When you think about it, the Bible says it perfectly. Streams of living water are to be found, and when you find them, enjoy them, and that's what I've done.
Minnesota's River Rat has spoken.
We have a sad update to that story. Bill Plantan, Ron's favorite riverman, passed away in April of 2023 due to a short illness. He was 67 years old.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems, Coors Light, Ice Castle Fish House and RV, and by White Bear Lake Superstore.
Up next, I can't wait to go hunting for fossils as old as dinosaurs. Good thing I found the right guide.
There we go.
Bang, bang goes the hammer. You could say this hunting trip is different than most.
Got one over here. Maclarate.
You can see him in the rock there.
In this case, the hunted died a long time ago.
We're just going to hunt the shore for a few minutes.
Hunting for fossils, creatures entombed in stone.
Okay, here we picked up some crinoids.
As you hunt, you can't help but wonder, how did they live where you live now?
What do you have in your hand?
Cephalopod.
A cephalopod is a creature found under the ocean millions of years ago. The question is, what are they doing in southern Minnesota?
When Minnesota was on the equator, under a shallow sea of like 100 feet. Think about that. So you're literally picking up seashells by the seashore when you come out fossil hunting, which is really neat.
There's hundreds of feet of marine sediment, which is a wonderful setting to preserve fossils. There also haven't been a lot of changes to the rock through metamorphosis and other processes, so the rock is well preserved as well as all the media within it.
Still preserved after a few years.
450 million years old is about right.
Beverly Sandlin, known as the Fossil Lady, has her own reasons on her passion about finding ancient signs of life.
It's going into the outdoors. Just getting outdoors gives me a reason to get out, gives me a reason to learn, and they're critters. They're old, dead things. And it's just like a piece of artwork. That's how I look at some of these, is they're like nature's art.
Just like other art enthusiasts, fossil hunters collect their finds for show and tell.
This is my fossil barn, and I've got some fossil friends today for you to meet.
You do, fossils and friends, nothing better. Hi, friends.
Fossils, fossils, and more fossils.
Very seldom do you name a fossil, but this is Waldo. He's an Antipharius boreas trilobite.
Oh my goodness, say that 3 times fast.
I thought pronouncing prehistoric names was going to be the biggest challenge of the day, until...
These are all coprolites. Coprolites are fossil poo.
Yay, we love it.
It is, because inside, it tells you about the environment that the animals lived in.
So how do you know what to look for when you're fossil hunting for poo?
One thing we do is we'll touch it to the tip of our tongue, and if it sticks, it could be a coprolite.
What? That's right, to test it, you have to taste it.
Would you like to demonstrate?
Tasting dinosaur poo?
You're not tasting it, you're just testing it to see if it's got good stickage.
All right, here we go. Oh, It does stick. You're right.
You don't have to taste a fossil, however, to be addicted to the hunt.
What was really neat for me, I think, people started asking me to take them out on tours, especially families with kids, and everybody can find a fossil.
Ooh, look at that.
There you go. That is a macularex. That's the index fossil of the Ordovician. See, just like my necklace.
Well, that's fantastic. We can have matching necklaces, Beverly.
Yes, yes.
Very cool.
That's a nice fossil.
It sure is.
And that's something, that'll make a memory.
Still ahead, sculpture created by one of the biggest sportsmen around. But first, we stoke up the campfire to whip up a very different shore lunch.
Closed captioning provided by Star Bank.
Hey everybody, Bill Shirk, the man about the woods. One of our favorite traditions around these parts is fishing for walleyes. And if you're lucky enough to catch a couple, you can cook them. Now, I tend to spend a lot of my summer cooking fish for people, and a fried shore lunch is the absolute classic. But if you do it over and over, it tends to get a little bit heavy, and your doctor will probably tell you it's not the healthiest thing for you. So I want to share one of my favorite walleye recipes. Laura's not the only one on this show that loves to cook. And my favorite recipe starts with a single ingredient, jerk. This recipe really consists of two parts. Number one, the fish, and number two, the rice and beans. I'm gonna actually get these going and on the fire because it takes about a half an hour to simmer up. We're cooking over fire today. I'm gonna set this to the heat. Ooh. Now let's prep the fish, and it's pretty simple because it's in foil. I'm just going to use a little chili oil on it to get it wet, not too much. And then the easy spice jerk. This actually came from Jamaica. I'm just going to lightly coat this and then I'll flip it. Too much of this spice can be too much. A little bit of cilantro, not too much, otherwise it tastes too strong. And then 6 to 8 onions over the top. Just gonna wrap this up. The key is really sealing the foil. Otherwise, you end up with a grease fire and all your flavor drips out. I'm gonna stir the beans. They're perfect. Pull them over here. The fish could actually go right on the coals, but we've got a grate today, so I'm gonna use it. Rough cooking time doesn't really matter in foil. The nice thing about foil is it stays in there. It's hard to overcook it. I don't want it undercooked, so I'll probably do 5 to 8 minutes on each side. This fire's hot. Oh. Ooh. Fish is off after cooking a little bit longer, about 10 minutes aside. Call me paranoid. Let's see what it looks like. That almost looks good enough to eat. All I do is put a layer of the starch. Take a little chunk of fish for the top. Wow. Amazing. Jerk spice walleye. About a half an hour recipe, easy to do in camp, and the results, pretty darn good.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Midwest Exteriors MM, Game Fair, and by Totem Resorts, the premier destination for world-class fishing.
Up next, the story about Bud Burger.
Yeah, one half of the Burger Brothers' retail legacy.
Turns out selling hunting and fishing gear wasn't Bud's only passion.
Yeah, Bud's got a creative side too. Right, Ron, Schara?
Our story begins in Edina, Minnesota, 44th in France, the year 1970.
It was 5,000 square feet.
Hence, the doors opened to Burger Brothers Sporting Goods.
So we had this grand opening, and I think the first day of our grand opening, we did $700 in business. And Teddy and I thought, well, that's pretty good.
The rest is history. Burger Brothers grew to become a familiar name to tens of thousands of Minnesota shoppers.
We had 6 stores with 400 employees, an independent operation like ours. The merchandise that we stocked was better best for quality, for price points, because that's what our customers were looking for.
It's fair to say most store customers also thought they were seeing double. The Burger Brothers, Ted and Bud, are identical twins who most often wore identical beards and clothing and shared identical interests, hunting and fishing. Then it was over. Burger Brothers was no more.
I thought, well, maybe we should and move on to another challenge.
Soon after, the two brothers also disappeared from the Twin Cities. They reside here on a remote wooded property near Bemidji, where the brothers and their wives live in separate log cabin homes, stuffed with a lifetime of memories of fields.
And we moved up here around 2002, and I thought, I had an idea because we had built this log home. I'm gonna create some decor.
Bud Burger was unaware. A dormant but amazing artistic talent was about to lead him and his wife, Jan, on a new life's journey.
Mirrors are great decorative interior design items to feature in a home. And I thought, if I do 1 to 3 dimensional relief on a mirror frame, so I started doing that. And one thing led to another, then people wanted to buy them.
That was exciting because he retired, and he never really retired because he always had this in the back of his mind. And the more he talked about it, the more it sounded like something he should do.
One thing it led to was an art shop next to the house.
This is my sanctuary. This is where I spend a lot of my time.
His client order at the moment is to create 4 different species of wild sheep: desert, dull, bighorn, and stone, all life-sized, including the mountain habitat they live on. It's a 2-year project.
And each one of these is a challenge in itself. I've never sculpted sheep before, but now I am.
Life-size, realistic, anatomically detailed, created with the lost wax technique.
I cut the mannequin in foam. Here's my armature that I start with right here. I use steel rods for the legs. I then foam it with the blue foam, and I hot wax over it. I sculpt in a real hard, dense wax. And it affords me to put in a lot of detail.
Bud's models are actual photographs from books and magazines. Bud's specialty, life-size bronzes, started by request from a client.
He said, Bud, I'd like to have a life-size whitetail. I've never done a life-size, but I said, it's not to say that I can't. My moose sells for $70,000. My deer are $34,000.
His first effort at life-sized art, a whitetail buck, also mirrors his love of deer hunting. This buck took about 8 months to bag. Is it for sale? When you're an artist, everything's for sale.
We need one of those sculptures around the office.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Sure would. Well, that about does it for us. We'll see you back here next week.
Millie, what do we always say? In the meantime, don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433.